Wait, oh, hold on a minute. Oh my God, I forgot I freaking booked this. So I never took a picture of the record locator, or else I was gonna be fucked. We go to Cleveland. Out of all places, freaking Cleveland.
Hey, you're in Cleveland. Wait, what's going on? What happened?
Next week, BMLP. It's in Cleveland,
Oh yeah,
Cleveland,
yeah,
Ohio. It's
yeah,
such a
yeah, yeah.
it's such an odd place, you know? Just it's such a random location, Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There's like some speaker that they're having come to
Yeah, Ray
BMLP, and you
Lewis.
probably Ray. Is it Ray? Okay, does he live in Cleveland? I can't remember.
I don't think so. It's
Um,
just that that's where the
where it's
thing
at.
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you have to tell me how it goes. I know that we got to watch Ray Lewis. Were you at the nine figure boardroom here like a month ago? Maybe it was like 3 weeks ago now.
No, I
Um,
wasn't able to.
yeah,
I
no,
wasn't
he
able
he's
to get there.
yeah, he spoke at the event and it was just awesome. He's a great speaker, great guy. So excited for you guys to get to meet him and be in a little bit more personal setting at the BMLP retreat. But how about this, Andrew? First, would love to know if there's any major things that have changed in the business that you wanted to make us aware of to start the call off, and then would love for you to show me what you guys have been able to tackle on the sheet, and we can start asking questions and diving into specifics.
I don't think I have. I might not have the sheet yet, but I have a win. I have a win. So, and this is gonna help you because I have a lot of the answers, but I don't think I have the final sheet back, which I'm sorry. I sound like a loser for saying that.
No,
So
no worries.
hold on. It's almost done though. Like at least I'm getting it done, and I have to get done the other deliverables too. Shit. So, because I really want to hit that target date for platforming, because I really want to get to the next step. Um, and I feel like I had such a great weekend in Arizona. I have to say though, I love Florida. They were all saying out there, well, your team says it too, but like also Andy Elliott's team, like because I was over there, I did a podcast with Andy. I know you guys are like kind of like competition though too, but he was like everyone like who starts coming to Arizona for these business events, like they all just end up moving here. And it's like when you're there for a little bit, you're like, oh yeah, it's cool. And I just got back here. I'm like, there's no way I'm ever leaving Miami. I'm like, dude, I love Miami so much.
Hey, you gotta have that place you enjoy though. I mean, if the environment like gets you pumped, like that's where you need to be. So,
Bro,
um,
Arizona is beautiful though. Like the mountains are great. I just feel like I'm just stranded in the middle of the desert sometimes. I don't know where I can go find like the best quality food. Like it's just kind of strange to me.
dude,
I liked it out
next
there.
next time next time you're in town, let me know and I'll send you like a list. There's so much good food here. It's
There is
ridiculous.
good
But
food. I've been finding the good food spots now that I've been there, but Denver is terrible. Never moved to Denver. No good food. No good food.
yeah, no, I we had to go to in the prior job I worked in, I had to go to Denver 3 or 4 times for business and it was never a good time. So, but I would love to hear the win. What is it
Yeah,
that's going
sorry.
on that's got you pumped?
So at least I was going through this. So Frank texted me. He's like, and I'm like just waking up, and I my sleep schedule has been awful since I got back. He's like, hey, like, what's Glass's hours? I've been waiting for this cash flow report since Monday. I want to get this done. He was like, this should be like a 2 hour task. So that's good. That's a win, in my opinion, because like I have the right people who are like, dude, this can be done fast. And you probably agree. It's probably a fast activity, actually. She had a
Yes,
question.
if you have everything lined out, it's quick. And then the great thing about it is if that's the state you guys are in, then we can build on it and make it even more effective. So there's a lot of cool
That's the
stuff we
thing
can
that
do.
we need.
So
We need like the effective communication lines a little bit more. But he started going into it like I've been doing this, I've been doing that, I've been doing this. Um, he also said that our aim is to standardize this, accountability. And this is like the person who would, like say some mean stuff to Gladys sometimes. I don't know if you remember me telling you guys that like 2 months ago when we were talking about having him as the fractional CFO. Yeah, but he's like so much better with her now. and he was really going into like, hey, like, do you understand why this sheet is so important? Because like it's going to make things way more efficient. That manually reviews like schedules, and like you're going to be able to manually like start reviewing all these things. Um, because like this is going to help you get into a prime cash position. You're going to know what targets your team needs to hit. And if your team doesn't hit their targets, you're going to know exactly where to go and find it. And you're going to be able to react to it much faster than waiting until the last minute when like all this stuff happens and you don't know where things went wrong and why they went wrong. And so it's really good because I have people on my team who do want to use this stuff. And I think that's the big win. And it was just interesting because, I'm like waking up, and as the CEO, like you deal with a lot of the ups and downs of running a business, and you have to be really tough to be a CEO. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. And it's great because I have such great entrepreneurs inside my business who want to do this work, even when I'm like a little bit lazy some days, where I'm like, oh man, like a lot of this work can be overwhelming sometimes. And then now you got other people on your team who like don't want to give up and want to actually push through the goal and hit the target. So it's really sweet. But even just sending him some of the accounts receivable numbers, like because he was asking, like, are you paying any credit cards this week? Like, what are your plans with that? How much do you expect to collect next week? So we start going through the numbers, and it's like, we do have an issue with like salespeople like not being skilled enough. Um, our persona for marketing could be way better. We could be attracting way better leads, in my own opinion, because we get a lot of people who want to retire off of passive income, which I don't like working with those people. And they're just a major liability when they're asking for passive income to use credit, like 100 grand of credit to invest in some kind of passive thing that they have no control over. It's just ridiculous. And well, expecting major returns like Cardone Capital would be like a great investment, for example, but these guys want like Cardone Capital's returns every month. The yearly returns every month, which is just ridiculous. And it's just so risky. But yeah, it's like it's good. And then we just cut like 9 people, and we're collecting some more money. We're collecting the people that just like fell through the cracks, or it could have required like a better person. So I feel like I'm just after this weekend, I'm taking more steps forward toward it. And this is going to be a valuable tool that's going to help catch these things before they blow up. And I've been a lot more actively involved in the drilling. There was something that Andy said to at his event that just like blew my mind, because it's so like your events are so great, and then it's so important to just have like a couple of people, that like a handful or two of people that you pick gems from, because that's how you create you, right? It's like you're not just like a mini version of one person, like you're influenced by many different sources that pull together who you are. And he was like, don't ever forget who's in fucking charge. I'm like, you're fucking right, bro. I'm in charge. I'm like, I'm fucking in charge. It's like not all these other people are in charge. So it just was like all these people are running shit wrong in their areas, and I need to take charge and just fucking exit them or develop them. And it really just like started giving me more confidence to actually go out there and do it. And I just fucking did it. I dropped 10 fucking people. I said, fuck this. I'm not letting these people stay. I gotta fucking drop them. I'm in charge. They're not doing what I want them to do. They need to go. It was good.
Hey,
So
I'm
yeah.
glad this weekend was like so transformational for you. And the other thing too is that the thing that I've been continually impressed by, more so than many of the businesses that we work with, is the leaders that you have taking such accountability. And one of the things that, you just talked about, which is them being entrepreneurs, like genuinely your team leaders specifically, I've just been repeatedly impressed by. So really excited that we're holding the team more accountable. We're making sure that those people are in place. And then in addition to that, like don't feel like you can't tell us about the other people that you're working with. One of the things that I appreciate about Cardone is that, like, well, if there's
You
something that we
guys are
think
like
you
the
can get
top
out
person though,
elsewhere,
for sure. Like,
well, appreciate that.
yeah, you have the systems and processes that people really need. Because the thing is like, I'm just gonna be completely honest, bro. Like, Andy's just blowing up a balloon that could pop. You guys aren't really, you guys are building a map. You guys are building like the tallest skyscraper in the world, and Andy's just blowing up a massive balloon, in my opinion. Because, bro, dude, they pay everyone there 1099, but they all work in the office and they all like, they pay like 30% commissions. Like they're growing everything all organically. They're doing millions a month organically. It's insane. The branding over there is incredible, right? Because like Andy's gotten like 2.4 million followers in 2 years, and it's real. It's not even like bullshit because you know he's not running ads. He only just started running ads like a month or two ago, and he's filling out these rooms. Like it's insane. Like he actually is like an organic balloon, but like he's such a great like driver to get people to become the best version of themselves, which is what you actually need to use this Cardone Ventures data. You can't just have the systems and the processes without being the leader yourself, you know?
No, absolutely. Yeah, I mean it's one of those things that like we can explain to a client how to do something or explain the system and in some ways do it for them, but at a certain point it comes down to it's your business. Like it's not our business. You know what I mean? And so I see that often happen as well is that you either have clients that have major success and then no longer have the motivation to do. So like you need to make yourself somebody who wants to constantly grow. What I do want
Yeah.
to say is that I'm looking at your guys' sales tracker and who's this? Who's this Gusto guy?
Yeah, bro.
Dude,
Just
who is
recruited
this
him.
guy? He
I know.
he's
I just
showing up out
recruited
of
him.
nowhere.
I met him at GrowthCon actually. I met him at GrowthCon, and he was working for this other guy named Jay Donahan, who used to work with Grant a little bit, doing like some systems stuff. And he left Jay because Jay wasn't growing and he wanted to grow with a company. And so actually Chris Dietz introduced us to him, right? Because Chris like started his staffing company. And so he made the introduction to us to him because we were like, do you know any other salespeople? We're like, we need salespeople. We just fired all these salespeople. Like, we need like, we can't recruit Deets, obviously. We can't have Deets, but who can we get that's like him? So we found Gus. And Gus like was bro, he didn't have a lot of experience. He had great confidence and communication skills. Like he can confront a comm cycle and have no nervousness talking to people. And he's so comfortable with it. He has great attitude, great work ethic. I drilled him on like the Scientology communication stuff, like the sales techniques, our frameworks. Like I taught him how to like he's great at communication, but I taught him the frameworks that he naturally uses in his day-to-day life and how to handle things. Taught him a little bit about the offer, but really taught him how to use a framework. And I taught, and bro, he just has that natural ability to um like follow up with people, confirm his deals, do all like the very basic stuff that Orlando is doing. But one of the big things that I feel like I'm totally noticing now based on Gus coming in is his energy. His energy is so high. And like Patrick Bet David the other day talked about you want to have a trifecta closer. And what he means by a trifecta closer is number one, they could close deals, right? The problem with my team is that they're all closers, but they don't have the other two things. The other two things are number one, being a closer, number two, being a finder, meaning that you're going to be resourceful and go and find deals, whether it's through referrals or whether it's through, which is something Orlando does a lot of. He'll always ask for referrals at the end of the call. Alex Hermosi made a video about this like 2 weeks ago. It just made me realize, like, fuck, dude, Orlando has so many referrals. He's doing this every call. That's why he's closing so many deals. And Orlando also has really high energy, but closer, a finder, and a builder. And a builder, um, builds relationships with clients and looks for long-term growth. And the cool thing about this trifecta is that it aligns with the three things they went over in the revenue essentials, is that you have to have a strong work ethic, a strong attitude, and experience. Those are the three things they taught in revenue essentials: work ethic, experience, attitude. And you need those three things with the trifecta. You need to find people who have those three traits, but are willing to go find their own deals, build relationships, and close. Because by finding deals, you're always going to have leads. By closing deals, you're always going to close sales. And by building relationships, you're going to be able to upsell people. And this is how the Cardone team operates too. When you meet someone at an event, they're going to close you, they're going to ask you for referrals, they're going to find you, and they're going to build a relationship with you to get you to do the SBU or even Elite 250 someday. So, and they don't even necessarily have to come in experienced. Like you take Aaron. Aaron didn't even speak English, but he just had high energy, strong work ethic, great attitude. And because he had those things, he was able to go find deals. He was coachable, he could duplicate. And so another big win that we had was like we identified this persona during the revenue essentials. And then that mixed with like identifying like a driven winner with like the Andy Elliott stuff and your guys' stuff. We actually are a little bit contrarian in this now, but we made the best job descriptions you're probably ever going to find that are going to attract motivated and driven individuals who understand what we need from them before they even submit an application with us. Because the thing about the job description, like the thing about you guys is that you guys have such a big brand that a lot of your best people come through the brand. Not exact like there's people that come in through the job description, but there's also great people that come in through the brand. Like Aaron came in through the brand, right? Like a lot of these people came in through the brand, not exactly like a job description. So for us, we don't have the brand and we need to like create the job descriptions better. So because we don't have a brand to promote, we're still developing what is Andrew's story. Like we have a story, but like what are the messages that I can promote that's going to gain attention? And I'm still like figuring that out because I haven't gone like super viral, but Andy has gone super viral, or like Grant has gone super viral. I know Brandon's still working on going viral. He's not exactly viral yet. Like he has the Grant Cardone brand, but even his reels only have like 5 to 10,000 views. Grant has hundreds of thousands of views. Andy has hundreds of thousands of views. Wes Watson has hundreds of thousands of views. But when you think about these guys, they have like that brand, but we don't have that. So we have to make great job descriptions. So I used my marketing skills, understanding like what triggers my personas have, whether that be pain points, pleasures, benefits, what I'm personally looking for in talent. So we took the temp because we literally just copied like the job descriptions on Cardone Ventures, like word for word. And we were getting people, but I realized that we were getting people who just wanted to be one of the three in the trifecta. They just only want to close or they only want to do the job, but they don't have like the motivated hunger and those things. So we had to incorporate that into the job description. So we went from having things like responsibilities, reaching out to database prospects to create interest for like services. And like that doesn't really attract, that just attracts someone who wants a job. But now we have things in there like hold yourself accountable to ensure a minimum of 6 hours of talk time is done with qualified prospects despite inbound lead flow. And when someone reads that, they're going to be like, oh, fuck, like I got to work hard here. And it's only going to attract people who are willing to work hard. And it's going to like show them, like, dude, if you like only apply to this if you're ready to be a top producer. It also says that too, like, utilize 1 hour of role play to gain confidence in the sales process. That's not in the other job description. You know, like fast learner that, no, let me see. There's some other stuff like hunger to find hunger to find qualified prospects if there's an insufficient number of auto booked appointments for the day by using company CRM or referrals. Like that stuff was not in our previous job description. The other one said, um, what's it called? Like reaching out to database, call, email, and use various communication forms to identify the correct product for each prospect. It's just like very job closer-ish stuff. And so we made some adjustments to like, look, you need to be willing to hit 30 new clients a month and manage a pipeline um and all this stuff that really shows like you have to be a hard worker here. So we took the trifecta, the things, the qualities that you want a closer, and we found the right way to just hit that persona that we want.
No, that is, I mean, again, awesome to hear. And I know that there's a
Sorry, I
couple things.
rambled.
No,
Sorry
you're
if I
great. I mean,
bored
I
you.
love all the, no, I'm not bored at all. I'm actually very
You can
excited.
just tell me if it was too much. It's very
Yeah,
off topic for this discussion.
it's I wouldn't say it's entirely off topic because I think what it is this is like you getting the culmination of all the things that we have talked about and implementing what Felipe talked about. I know that I got responses from Felipe yesterday to those questions that Paul had, so I'll make sure to give those to you. One of the things is I'm gonna actually talk to Felipe and just see if I can just connect you guys directly. We have a little bit of a new process around this, and I'm not sure if that is something that's allowed. But let me just talk with him. I'm sure it is. I just need to confirm that, and then you guys can just directly interface with Felipe on this. But love the attack speed, love the action, and one of the things too is so to make sure I'm understanding correctly. So I know there's a lot of buy-in on doing the that spreadsheet, and I know that for many of our clients, it takes like 2 weeks to really dial in getting it up entered. Is this something that you feel like we could be able to review next week at this same time?
Yeah, like Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday.
Okay. I know that next week I have the platform delivery for August. So I could do Wednesday at so this time was 10 to 10:45. Does that work for you for Wednesday next week?
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay. And what I want to do is, well, actually, let me ask, is it possible to meet with you to discuss this on Monday or Tuesday? Because that would actually
No,
even be
I'll be at
better
the
from the
BMLP.
context. Okay, then we'll do Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna have to get with Matt and tell him that I can't do Monday either. So maybe we can yeah, I can't do Monday with Matt because I'll be at BMLP.
Okay, understood. Are you wanting to double up on calls that week? Because Wednesday would then be the only day that we could probably meet all together.
Um, yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Well then I will let Matt know. He'll reach out to you and we'll look to get you scheduled for Wednesday. So we'll have both of those call times. What I want to do on next week's call is once you have that sheet together, I want us to review it. And then, just as your finance stakeholder was talking about, like, what do we need to do? Like, where do we need to put our attention? But the other thing I want to understand as well is it looks like over month, a number of your guys are getting like much better show rates. And they're also getting a lot more. They're getting really close to that 50,000. So I wanted to hear from you. What is there
I
anything
think they're a
specific
lot
that
more
you're doing?
driven now based on that comp plan adjustment. I mean, it's not a long-term comp plan, but the penalty is good enough to where they're like, oh, fuck, like I'm going to miss out on a lot of money if I don't hit my target. So that's really good. That's extremely helpful for us to have that there for them. So there's going to be a lot to consider with the recommendations you guys make about the comp plan changes. That's something I'm really looking forward to is understanding like it's probably one of the biggest things you might want to take note of that. It's probably one of the biggest things we really need in this platform delivery is like what's going to be the comp plan and pod structure for the entire sales division or the entire sales department because we figured out what it can be for the client success managers, but we haven't figured that out really for W2 sales position inside of our company. And I haven't really been able to draw up something where I feel like it's going to be like perfect. So, and it's never going to be perfect, but something that's going to compete with what it is right now. So, yeah, that's going
So
to be one
great,
of the big
great,
things.
great question. What I can say is this, and I know we talked a little bit about this before. I would say right now, let's move forward with what we have. But when we get to the financial modeling call, which is going to be in the next few weeks, and when we have that conversation, it's all going to be about the strategy and the structure of your team and how do we grow that over the next 10 years. So we're going to really dive over like 2 or 3 calls. We're really going to dive into that. My recommendation though is that being where we're at in the process, I've seen the greatest success for our clients when they work with the SBU to change incentive plans. What can end up
Yeah.
happening is if we do that in platform, you might end up then needing to change it again in SBU. And I would just like right now we have something that is working or is close to working. It may not
Yeah,
be
I
ideal,
agree.
but I'd rather don't do it once and do it correctly once. And the team
Yeah,
on the
same.
SBU side, like they have all the tools and they have like their department is structured to do this, where our department on platform is not structured. Like we can do it if it's necessary, but I just want to align expectations,
Yeah,
make
yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah, totally. Yeah, no, I
Okay.
appreciate you aligning the expectations for sure. And that makes tons of sense. And yeah, I'm sure it's going to be probably one of the first things I look at once I get into the SBU. So I'm very excited about that. And it's going to be great.
Yep.
Um,
So with that, is there anything that you need from me today? I feel like you're making great traction, great progress. And then next week when we are able to review the data, like we'll start to see week over week, like are we growing our cash and where are we not, like where is it not growing and why? So that's what we'll really focus on next week.
I think the big thing that I'm like learning now too is like the energy. I taught Gus everything he needs to do. When he was doing his first mock calls with me, he wasn't adding value. He wasn't really in communication. Like I'd ask you like what your credit score is, or I'd ask you, have you tried an opportunity? You would bring up like a perspective that needed to be handled on the spot, and he would ask a different question. He would kind of breeze off of it. I taught him how to communicate. The biggest thing I think that separates like the top producers and the bottom producers is really just their hardworking attitude, energy, ability to duplicate, um, their positivity, their mindset. Like even the Mateusz, I've promoted him from like just a CSM to a pod leader because he's the first person to collect $200,000 in a month as a funding supervisor, which is like I knew it was going to happen. And he's like the guy that he's a little bit of a laid back guy, but he really is super serious. He really works hard. He really takes things seriously and really like wants to grow and develop his skills and eats, sleeps, and breathes self-improvement. And that was something that we included in our new job description as well. And I've gotten a lot more strict on the hiring. Like I've made a policy where I have to approve the third interview for every single person now. If they if it's a no, for everyone else can say yes, but if I say no, it's no. I'm like a president. I'm like the president. It's like you have the House of Representatives, the Senate, and then the president, and one person can just butcher the deal, and I'm gonna butcher it. Like there was a guy where my recruiter, and she gets incentivized too for hiring people, like if they stick and hit their target after like 3 months. But they like she was like, I think we should bring this guy on. And I watched the interview and he didn't even finish the core values and he just didn't show that he had the energy to match what Gus is doing. And I'm like, no, this guy's not going to make it. And she was like, oh, but I really want to give him a chance. I was like, no, it's not worth it. And I just
Yeah,
was like, I
no,
feel like
it's
I just know,
well, it goes back to like Natalie will talk about this that like she was in until we had 50 stable team members, she was in all of those interviews, like just as you're talking about. So until we hit a number where we're like stable at 50 employees, like core employees, like she was in every interview doing all of the things that you just spoke about. So I think that's a successful action.
Did those
One of the things
50
that
employees include VAs?
no, like these were like Cardone Ventures employees.
USA people.
And to my knowledge, I don't think we had VAs until like the last like 6 months for certain things. Like we finally got big enough that like people needed assistance. But to my knowledge, there was no VAs historically.
Hmm.
Um, and again, I think that it comes back to like defining the culture and like being really a good shepherd of what that is. So as the business grows, those core people become the business's leaders as the business continues to develop. So something to think about there. But one of the things I wanted to mention when you were talking about Gus, I want to ensure that, like this was a successful action we did with another client of ours that was having a sales issue. Was he, you were talking earlier about developing like a card on you for your business. He essentially did the same thing for painting. And so he was a painting contractor, and his salespeople needed support because he needed to onboard more salespeople to keep up with what was going on. My recommendation would be that the conversations you had with Gus that got him to respond to your specific environment properly, you need to create recordings, videos of that, and then that becomes part of their onboarding and training. So,
Yeah,
like, and it's
totally.
something, it needs to be something that's scalable, right? So the
Yeah.
idea that you're able to meet with every single person, that might be what's required right now. But in the next 60, 45 days, that should not no longer be what's required. And but we still want you, or whatever that effective training was, we want that to continue
Yeah.
in your business. And so it needs to be done in a scalable way through videos, whatever it
Yeah.
might be, building out that training course that you run somebody through over 4 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. I fully agree with that. And it's not even just 4 weeks, but it's like one of the biggest things I learned early on was like people are going to teach you things, but it's not only what they teach you, but it's really just observing what they do. Like, because like when I learned like YouTube ads, for example, right? There's a course, like they give you like slides to make your VSL, but it's only 20 slides. But if you actually pay attention and you go and look at a VSL, it's not 20 slides, it's like 200 slides. And what I did was I actually went in there and I understood the basic frameworks, which was key. I had okay, this is when he uses this trigger, this is when he uses this type of sentence, this is when he does this. I literally paused every slide, wrote down the entire transcript, and saved the transcript and just filled in the blanks for my stuff. And that's why I was like the only big success story out of that program because I actually watch what they do instead of just take what they give you. And that's one of the big things that I think a lot of people probably miss with working with like they see all these big nine-figure companies, but they're like, how it's not just like using Cardone U. You have to create your own Cardone U because like it's great to give them like mentors like Grant or PBD or like whoever it may be. But you need them to like everyone in your business respects Brandon and Grant the most. And if you had like a different training platform where you had, say, if you were studying PBD and you weren't studying Brandon, it would feel, it would be a different culture there because like you guys wouldn't be talking about what did you learn from Grant this morning? It'd be like, what'd you learn from Patrick this morning? And it's just weird. You're not learning from the people that you're working for. And that's what's happening here is that they're not learning from me. And so there's not that same level of respect or that same level of like everyone's on the same page because we're handing that responsibility over to someone outside the organization when really all the respect needs to start being built around the leaders here and listening to the things that they've learned and the value that they can provide because that's what all these other companies are doing. Andy has his own training, Grant has his own training, Patrick has his own training, Brad Lee probably has his own training, right? Not saying that there's anything wrong with other training platforms, but it's like the only way I'm going to grow a bigger team is by channeling the respect and the knowledge over to me. Like people are getting the information from me and not someone else.
No, I love the takeaways. And I think in regards to, what you're saying about the VSL, like that's a successful trait. And what I would say is when you think about putting together that training specifically for your sales team, think about how can you structure it so that they're going through that same type of activity with what you guys are doing, right? So where it's
Yeah.
truly, truly theirs and they own it. But I do think that, right now for you to hit the target that you have, which is a minimum. I believe it was 250,000 a week in new cash collected. Right, we need more salespeople. To give
Oh
you
yeah, we need a
context,
lot more salespeople. We need a lot more Gus's and Orlando's.
yeah, and to give you context, with the 12 that we have currently, if we were to do 50,000 a month, right, that's only $600,000. So even if
Yeah. That's
everybody
a
on the
low
team,
target too. They really all should be hitting 75, but even that wouldn't really hit the number either.
exactly. So my point being is that we need to iron out the process with this group so that we have confidence that, hey, this process works. And that's when, so you think of the three P's. So you've blown through multiple breakpoints to get to where you're at. Promote, profit, process, then people. You have the promote down, you have the profit
Oh,
down.
that's a
We need to get
bar.
the
That's
process
a
and people.
VMLP bar.
Yes.
That's true though. Promote. What was it?
Promote, profit, process, then people. You've got the first two. We need to work on the third one. And then once we have that dialed in, that's onboarding plans, sales training, scripts, role plays, mentoring. All of that needs to be going on in your business in an effective way. And what I mean by effective, the way that you gauge if it's effective is if you get the results. That's the
Yeah.
feedback that you're looking for. Once you have that dialed in, then go get more people. Like then go and start doing more recruiting for your sales team. So
Yeah, makes sense. I'm gonna go tell Paul right now, like the things that we should include in the process. That was a bar. It's true. I've done promote and profit myself, and yeah, and I have processes, and I know who I am. So now that's why I'm holding such a higher standard on these. I've always had a high standard on these recruiting calls, but I think the problem was is that I allowed it to kind of slide a little bit. Paul stopped showing the scorecard like a year ago, which is like before we present an offer, we share screen and show them like, hey, this is your responsibility. These are your KPIs. These are your metrics. We expect you to have these competencies. If you fail at these are your on track earnings. And look, we're going to offer you the position, but if you fail at any of these things and you stop, like you're gone. Right. And so he stopped doing that offer call because he started offering it through email. And then you're not really starting off on the same page with like, what are like the high performer expectations that we have? Because really the process really needs to be around like, how can you create like a mini Brandon or a mini Grant? Right. Because like you have like that work ethic of Brandon and Grant, you have that energy of Brandon and Grant. Right. So like it's so important to bring those people on. So now I'm like screening them myself. I'm like, look, if this guy can't be a mini, if this guy isn't showing up with like how I showed up, then like we don't want him.
no, you got to get more selective. The last thing that I'll say as well is that there to kind of reinforce the four P's that I just mentioned is that we also talk about the seven promotes. So
Yep.
of the seven promotes, you do five of them very well. The two that we're not doing is teaching others how to do those promotes. And the other is promoting people within the organization that have, that type of mentality that you're talking about right now. So we have a lot of great leaders right now, but we need to be inspiring the next level. And bringing that your top CSM to revenue essentials, and your question around, hey, should I have a bonus for my top CSM? Like the bonus is becoming a pod leader, becoming a closer. Like those are the bonuses of being successful month after month. And the advantage of being in those positions versus the current position, that's the true reward. So what I would say right now is let's not focus on that right now, because I think that it's not going to drive as much value as the other thing, right? Which is saying, hey, here's your EMM. This is your employee maturity model. Like focusing in on that. And the last two P's of the four P's, I think are going to be really instrumental right now with where you're at. And you're already doing a really great job. We just need to keep the momentum, right? So with that, Andrew, I got to jump to my next conversation today, but is there anything that you need from me coming out of this conversation to support you? I'm going to look to send over those answers from Felipe and then also see if I can directly connect him to you and Paul. But is there anything else I can do to support you between this week and next?
The good news is we're slowly filling in this cash flow report. I have something I can send to you. I
Yes, as
just
soon
got
as
it.
perfect. As soon as it's up to date and it's good to go, like I would love for you to send it and I can review it and then I can
Here you
send
go.
some feedback over email. So
Here you go. I forwarded it to you.
awesome. Awesome.
It's
Well,
not
sir,
done. I could tell there's still missing pieces like sales and marketing, stuff like that, how much I've spent.
and they'll get it dialed in. What I'll say is I'm gonna send you the meeting invitation for next week. But excited you're going to BMLP. Looking forward to hear some of the takeaways from there.
Oh, I
And
can't wait to work out with Ray Lewis, man.
man, he's a big dude. He's a really big dude.
Yeah, he is.
Uh, but Andrew, I hope you have a good rest of your week, and I'll see you on Wednesday, sir.
All right, sounds good. I'll see you
Thanks,
then.
Andrew. See ya. Bye.
Bye.